Hello everyone, welcome back to Black Moon Coven. So today we have a very interesting video. Upon my reading in BackWoods Witchcraft, definitely a book I highly recommend as well. It has a bunch of different folklore, folk magic from Appalachia, so very, very interesting. So upon my reading of BackWoods Witchcraft, I stumbled upon these things called Samuels, and they're basically a backwoods version of a pendulum. And I thought we would make our own. And I don't utilize the Bible in a lot of my practices. I know a lot of folk practitioners of folk magic utilize the Bible, and there is a lot of Bible script in this book. However, I don't utilize that. I kind of utilize folk magic and its properties. So let's just make our own Samuel and let's decide what we want to put in it and stuff like that. So what is a Samuel? I'm going to read from this book a little excerpt here. A Samuel is a weighted bag of curios suspended on a red cord whose movements are interpreted to see backstage into a situation. It's basically an old country pendulum crafted from roots and red flannel. It's called a Samuel, to my knowledge, because of the witch calling Samuel's spirit up from the Samuel in the Bible. And then it goes into a whole Bible script of things about Samuel and Saul and things like that. So we're gonna kind of make our own. Why not? So it's going to be an herbal pendulum. I thought that was really interesting to kind of call upon the spirits of the roots and the herbs and things like that. So what you're going to need is, I know they said red flannel. I don't have any, and I think the color doesn't really matter all that much. So I'm going to use a black piece of cloth. I really like to use the color black, as you could obviously tell. So I'm going to use a black piece of cotton, some black thread. You can use red if you really want to. That's completely up to you. And for the different roots, I decided to incorporate roots and herbs and curios. So we have some mandrake roots. Obviously, mandrake is a very powerful herb in magic, in spiritual communication, basically anything. It really amplifies your magic to the fullest, to the extreme. Here we have some purple nettles that I actually collected from the seasons past, because they usually flourish in like the spring, early summer. So I actually collected a lot of purple nettles, and I used them in divination and stuff like that, spiritual contact. So I will be putting some in here. Here I have some teeth, some coyote and fox teeth. So I will be putting that big molar that you see in there in this little bag, because teeth are great for communication, just like a jawbone is or anything else. Then I have some High John the Conqueror root, really great for magic. I have some patchouli leaf, which is my favorite. And then I have some bay leaves, which are just generally good for anything. You are stuck on a spell, put in some bay leaves, that's definitely for sure. Now, you can also put in an incense cone in here to kind of make it smell nice, whatever you want to do, witch's burr, whatever you want. So, you're going to grab your little piece of cloth, and we're basically going to be stuffing it with herbs and then tying it up. So it's really all up to you on what herbs you like to use and how you use them and everything else. So, we have our little piece of cloth in front of us. We're going to be adding some High John the Conqueror root, just a little bit. You don't want to waste too much, but then again, you do want a really nice size here. So we're just going to add like a little quarter piece of everything. We're going to put some purple nettles in here. As you can see, they were like nice, pretty purple flowers. So I'm just going to crush them up and put them in here. Just like that. You only need like one or two. You don't need like a whole bunch. Some patchouli leaf. I love the smell of patchouli. It smells so great. And I use it a lot in my magical work. That's the incense that's going right now, is actually patchouli, because I love it so much. Mandrake. Definitely a great root for any type of spiritual, magical work, any type. So I'm just going to crack off a little piece of mandrake, maybe a couple pieces. Why not? And we're going to add some bay leaves. So you don't have to crack them in half if you don't want to, but I'm just going to crack it in half. You could add as many bay leaves as you want. And then our teeth. So, like I said, I'm going to add in this big molar piece because the other teeth I have are pretty small. So I'm going to add this big molar that I have from a jawbone. Now it says you could add other curios in there. I like to work with bones a lot, so you'll see bones in a lot of my workings, especially herbs and stuff like that. So you could add in other curios if you really wanted to. And now we have our black thread. Now again, you could use red, you could use yellow for communication, you could use whatever you please. Now again, this is not a traditional Samuel. Like I said, the folk practitioners in that book really utilize the Bible. I kind of don't. I kind of utilize nature, herbs, curios, things like that. So, you know, it's really up to you if you want to use the Bible in your working. If you don't, that's completely up to you. So we have all of our stuff in our little sachet. And now what we do is bring in all the corners. Make sure nothing spills out. So you have a little sachet, just like that. Just bring in all of the corners, make sure nothing spills out, and push everything kind of towards the bottom so it's weighted down. Next, you have your string. And I like to do it this way, but you can do it whatever way you really want. I loop it, you know, just do that so it's a loop. And then I pull it around and I pull the string through the loop to give us a little knot to work with. So just like that. And then I'm going to wrap it around a couple times, knot it like 3 times. I like to knot things in 3s just because it's a nice magical number. You could even do 9 if you want. But that's, again, all up to you. This is your practice. This is your little Samuel. This is what you like to do. So we're just going to call this an herbal pendulum because I don't feel right calling it a Samuel since I'm not using the Bible. I'm not, you know, putting in the work from the Bible and stuff like that. So you have knotted it 3 times. Awesome. So there you go. Now you're just going to clip your string. You could tie it at the end. You could add some weight to it. You could even add bones here, which actually would be a really good idea. So I might go and get some bones and add some stuff into that. So I went and got some little raccoon bones that I have laying around, and I'm gonna tie like 3 of them in there. Again, 3 is a magical number, and I think it would look really cool, really folky if I tied in some bones here. So you can actually do whatever you want. Again, this is yours. So you don't have to use bones. You could use feathers, you could use twigs. It's really up to you and what you like to do. You don't even have to tie anything to it. You could do whatever. You could leave it plain. You could change up the fabric, whatever you want to do. So we're just going to tie in some bones. So again, I highly recommend the BackWoods Witchcraft book because I've learned so much from it. Even if you don't utilize a whole bunch of its teachings, you can still learn a lot from the book itself. The author is really, really great. Jake Richards, really amazing author. The way he tells those stories and stuff like that, and you could tell he's telling it from his heart. Like, you know, his family grew up there, and that's kind of what they teach and stuff like that. So I really, really enjoyed the book, and I'm like almost done with it. It has a lot of useful information and stuff like that. Very, very cool. Very cool, and just a really, really great read. So I'm just going to tie the last bone in here. Doesn't that look cool? So we have a little herbal pendulum. So I thought that was a really interesting idea since a lot of witches utilize crystals for pendulums. I do I do bones for pendulums, but I haven't really seen herbal pendulums, and I thought that was a really cool idea since herbs, we have an abundance of herbs around us everywhere. You could use anything for a pendulum, a stick, anything you really want. So here is our little herbal pendulum, and I think I'm going to start utilizing it a little more because why not? The power of the herbs and the spiritual communication in here, really awesome. And it smells like patchouli. It smells so great. So there you go. A little quote unquote old country, old world herbal pendulum that we just made. How cool is that? Now the bones might interfere with the actual swinging. So actually really kind of consider that when you are spacing them apart. I might space these two a little bit more apart, but, or maybe just leave the one. Whatever you want to do, but this is awesome. I cannot wait to make some for my witchy sisters, and I cannot wait to start using more herbs and herbal pendulum in my craft. I think it's very, very, very cool to do that. I think it's very cool and very awesome. And, you know, it's kind of a cheaper way to get a pendulum, so if you don't have that much money, or if you rather utilize something from nature rather than a crystal or bones, you know, then an herbal pendulum is definitely the way to go. Everyone has some fabric lying around and everyone has a collection of herbs. It doesn't even have to be these collection. This is just kind of what I like to do, but you could do lavender, you could do chamomile, you could do just bay leaves, you could do whatever you want to do. So I thought that was a really interesting little DIY, and I hope everyone enjoyed it. Join the coven and subscribe for more of these awesome witchy videos. And until next time, I will see you guys.